Hello all of you awesome people out there, and welcome back to another super awesome mega wicked cool video done by myself, a Disowned Hero. And in this episode we're going to be jumping back into wormhole space, except for this time we're going to be doing some ninja gas cloud harvesting. Now I'm sitting here in my venture all ready to go, and there's a very good reason why I'm in a venture, and that's because it's one of the only 2 ships in the entire game which gets a bonus towards gas cloud harvesting. This and its bigger brother, the Tech 2 variant, the Prospect. Yep, and the only ones that get bonuses towards gas cloud harvesting, and the bonuses are identical, so there's no real advantage to using one over the other, except for the Prospect. It does get the Covert Ops cloaking device, and I think it's got a bigger ore hold as well, so it's any difference. It costs about 26 million, as opposed to the Venture, which costs like $250,000 at the most. So let's have a quick look at the skills, because they also work slightly differently to how normal mining skills work. You need to have mining trained up to level 4 to be able to train the gas cloud harvesting skill, and all this allows you to do is use 1 additional harvester per skill. Now, since the Venture and the Prospect can only fit 2 of these, there's no real reason to go above level 2 unless you want to use the Tech 2 variants, which means you need to be up to level 5, which I am very close to. So that is it. And now you're probably thinking, why don't I just go grab another ship and fit 5 Tech 2 harvesters on that, say a cruiser or battle cruiser or something. And there's a very good reason for that. When it comes down to actual mining yields, the Venture will outmine any other ship using 5 lasers or 5 gas cloud harvesters with its 2. It's cheaper, it's got the ore hold so you can carry more, it's got the warp core stabilization bonus to it, and yeah, it's a lot faster and nimbler, and you don't really care too much if you lose it. So that's exactly why this is the ideal ship, I think, to be going with. So before we jump into a wormhole, I'm just going to show you what else I actually have written here. Where is it? Utilities, notepad. I have basically gone ahead and I've written down every type of gas we can find in nullsec, in wormhole space, and I've listed them from most expensive to least expensive down here. So when you jump into a site, you do have to scan the site down. Basically, you'll have 2 clouds in there, so you just want to pick whichever one has the most amount of value to it and mine that. But we'll get into more of that later. Let's have a quick look at the fit before we go anywhere else. We have in the highs, we've got a core probe launcher 1, we've got 2 gas cloud harvester 1s, and again there is no bonus to using any of the meta ones because basically they all have the exact same mining yield. It just comes down to like CPU and power grid usage, so just go for the cheapest ones you can. Got a medium shield extender, vulnerability field, afterburner there. In the lows we've got an inertial stabilizer just to help with align time. Some things over here which really don't matter too much. The idea is we're not going to be running into anyone anyway, and if we do, hopefully we can just run away. So you could pretty much fit this with just the highs, but yeah, I've gone with this here. I'll have the fit linked down below if you do want to test it out for yourself. But before I waste any more of your guys' time, I'm just going to undock here, go find a wormhole, and we'll jump in. And perfect, the first signature actually scanned down happened to be a wormhole, and it goes straight into an unknown system. So all I'm going to do now is run through my normal routine of what I would do when I first get into a wormhole, and it's pretty straightforward, and it's something you kind of you can do in a few seconds once you get used to it. So the first thing you want to do is save the location of the exit wormhole. It'll save you having to scan it down later. I just call them exit and submit that. Next, what I want to do is I want to align to something within, I don't know, within D-scan distance. And for anyone who's wondering, I do have D-scan on my second screen here, and there's nothing on D-scan. Someone did complain the other day that I'm not using D-scan. I do, it's just over there, you can't see it. So I'm just going to pick, I don't know, this moon here, and I'm just going to warp to it at 100. You don't want to warp at 0 because you do not know what's there, and since we can't cloak while warping, it's not ideal to just warp in at 0 to things. I'm just going to make it safe whilst I'm on my way. Now, if I had a cloak of any sort, I would actually activate that now. Covert Ops cloak, obviously, I can warp whilst cloaked. Any other cloak, I would wait until I'm in my safe spot and then cloak up. But I haven't got one on the Venture, so not really much of a big deal. I'm just jibber-jabbering while we warp around a little bit. So I'm going to keep me scan up as well. Doesn't look like there's anything in here. We've got lots of signatures, by the way. I'm just going to have a quick flash of them over there. I'm going to keep everything on this side of my screen today. I don't think you need to see me actually scan all of this stuff down today. And let's warp back to our safe. We can warp to that within 0.
Drive active.
And I also need to reload this thing because I forgot. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scan down absolutely every signature in here, keeping an eye on D-scan because I am visible, so I need to keep an eye out for combat scanner probes. They're the only way people will be able to find me, unless they actually manage to, create the exact same bookmark I just have. So I'm just going to start moving downwards in a random location, because why not? It does help when people are scanning it. If you're moving, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them. And I'm going to start scanning down every anomaly in here. Now, there is one anomaly to look out for. All anomalies in wormhole space basically have like a timer on them, so once you warp to them, a timer will start, and at a random point you will have enemies warp in, and in Adventure you're not really going to be trying to take any of them out. The only site which actually has enemies in it to begin with, which is 5 sentry turrets, which will pop any like frigate which decides to go in there almost instantly, is the Ordinary Perimeter Reserve. So if you see one of them, a gas site's called an Ordinary Perimeter Reserve, don't even bother warping to it. It's not worth it. You'll lose your ship as soon as you land. Everything else will have, or should have, no NPCs in it when you first land, but bear in mind that they will warp in after usually after about 15-20 minutes, you know, they'll come warping in. So I'll be back in a second once I've scanned these things down, and we'll start gas cloud harvesting. Alright, so I've actually managed to scan down a gas site. It's actually the first one I came across. So I'm actually doing okay when it comes to scanning these things down today as opposed to yesterday. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to warp to it. It's not within descan distance, but I'm only an adventure anyway. So if I do warp into a massive gang, then I'm not losing too much. So I'm just going to warp to that now. And we're also, I don't know if I mentioned, we're quite lucky. We've managed to warp or jump straight into a class 3 wormhole. Obviously, the higher the class, the better the gas you're going to find. A class 1 is obviously going to be less than a class 5 or a class 6. So let's get ourselves in here. I'm going to start this off just in case, and also reload these because why the hell not. And I'm going to bring up my little notepad as well, which tells me which gas I need to be going for, because like I said, when we get in here there'll be 2 types of gas, and basically we need to pick the most expensive one. So as you can see, absolutely no NPCs here, but the timer has started. So we've got full right, C28 and 32. So 32 is higher up my list, so that is the one I'm going to be going for. And I should have fit a micro warp to this. I don't know why I didn't, but I just realized now that I really should have done that. But basically you need to get within, I think it's about 1.5 km to this thing, 1,500 meters. These are non-collidable, so you can literally just burn straight towards them and not worry about bouncing off. And once we get close enough, we'll just simply activate these 2, keep an eye on descan as usual, and mine until NPCs come in to try and push us out. Now, I haven't even brought drones with me on this because, to be honest, Adventure's not going to stand up to the types of NPCs that warp in. They are sleepers. So unless you want to try and take on a group of sleepers in Adventure, you know, it's kind of pointless wasting the money on drones. You also can't get gas cloud harvesting drones, or not that I'm aware of. I did have a quick look, which is a bit of a pain because it'd be nice to throw some drones out, but you can't. So I'm just going to start these 2 up now, and basically just sit here and wait until something warps in. If I do completely mine this cloud, then what I'll do is I'll jump over to the second one. Even though it's not worth as much, I might as well get it while I'm here, because luck's going well at the moment, and I don't want to spend the next hour looking for another site when I had this one sitting here. Now, gas cloud sites, they tend to be all over the place, to be honest. You go into any system, you'll find, like a wormhole system, you'll find, you know, 2 or 3 of them. If you have to jump... Why is that stopped? Oh, it's too far away. Oh, so I wondered what I'd done. I thought maybe I brought something with me. No, so yeah, I just need to stay on top of it. And there we go. Activate these 2. So if I just leave my ship actually moving towards them and turn this off so I don't, like, you know, slingshot myself out, we should be fine. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there before I mess up what so far is going perfectly well. Alright, so it's been a little over 15 minutes now, and to be honest, the rats are due to warp in at any time. I'm being very relentless with descan. I don't really have much to do other than sit here and smack the V button, so why not? I've seen no probe scanners or scanner probes or anything popping up down there. So far, this original cloud, the most expensive one, is still going, which is fortunate because it's the most expensive one in this little site. And we have nearly 9 million ISK worth of goodies in there. So, like I said, so far so good. I'm just going to stay here now until the rats or NPCs come in, and then we'll be bugging out. So this is a little bit, in my opinion, it's a little bit more dangerous than normal mining and say low sec, null sec kind of thing, because in wormholes, most people tend to fly Cloaky ships. So right now I could have a Cloaky Astero, Cloaky Nemesis, Cloaky Stratios, even some sort of T3 sitting right next to me, and I'd have no idea, as opposed to like Null or Lowsec, where yeah, that risk is still there, but you tend to, you know, have normal ships flying around, which you can see on D-Scan coming a mile away. But like I said, nothing on D-Scan yet, so hopefully we are safe. And look at that, within like a minute of saying that, there they are. So I'm not even going to bother messing around with any modules. I'm simply just going to align to something and get the hell out of here. So like I said, you do not want to be taking these things on. You just want to be getting out. I mean, there was 4 cruisers there. Would you really like to take 4 cruisers on in a venture? No, I wouldn't. So I'm just going to warp off now. That site's done and dusted, so I'm simply just going to hide it from my overview, ignore result. So it's gone. I didn't actually scan anything down, even though I do usually scan the whole site down. But since it was the first one that popped up, I was like, hey, why not just run with my good luck at the moment and just go straight to that one. So now we're back in a safe. I'm going to keep up with D-Scan. I'm going to find another one. We should have, yeah, we've got over half a cargo hold left, so we'll see if we can find another site and warp to that. Alright, we just successfully found another one. This is a bountiful frontier site. I'm starting to think we might actually going to find another one with all the data and relic sites, which I was looking for yesterday but didn't flipping find. So we're just going to warp to that one now. Excuse me. Warp to that one within 0. Reload this thing while I remember on. And do exactly the same again. We'll see what gases are inside. We'll keep an eye on a D-Scan. We'll watch out for NPCs as well. Like I said, there should only be one site which actually has NPCs in there to begin with, and it is the Ordinary Perimeter Reserve. So, yeah, there we go. Absolutely no NPCs in here. Lovely. Let's see what gas we have. So we've got 32 and 28. Let's bring this thing back up again. First one's 32, 28 not far off. So I'm going to go straight towards that. Again, I wish I'd brought a micro warp drive with me. I had to have to burn them on last time, so that was all I kind of had handy. And I did kind of plan on changing it out, but, well, forgot. So yeah, let's warp to this one. Again, keep an eye on D-Scan. Got to keep mentioning that you have to keep an eye on D-Scan. It is your lifeline in wormholes. And yeah, we'll just start manning away again. Hopefully we can get this infantry almost full. All of C32, which I think is the highest one you can get without going into like a C5 or C6. If you do go into C5, C6, that's where, let's bring this thing up again. That's where you find these ones with the 3 letters in, so 320 and 514. These are worth about 12,000 ISK each, so they're the kind of ones you want to be after. But when you start getting that high, you find people live in those systems, so it's quite hard to get in. And if you do get in, you'll probably find it's all being mined away anyway. So yeah, just going to do, as I said, the exact same before, and I'll come back to you guys once we've got either a full load or the NPCs come in. And there we go, that's our back once again. So just going to leg it away exactly like we did before. There we go, and as you can see the frigates, we only had cruisers last time. The frigates can lock quite fast, so you need to be quick on your warp outs. It's kind of impossible to stay aligned to something since you've got to be within 1,500 meters with these things. So yeah, as long as you, I mean, that's why I've actually, I think I pointed it out, that's why I actually have fitted this thing down here just to help bring my align time down. I mean, it's still 4 seconds. I mean, I could change a rig or two and get it even further. But this one, it seems to work perfectly for me. So I didn't actually clock how long that one took. Maybe close to 20 minutes, I think we were in there. But we're now estimated up to nearly 19 million. So I'm tempted, since there is no one here, to actually go for a third and final site if there is one. If not, I'll see you guys back in station where we'll have a quick chat about whatever else I can think of saying. So see you in a minute. And here we are back in High-Sec. Now, unfortunately, there wasn't another gas site to run, but it's not really a big deal. We did get about 2/3 full of this full right stuff, and it's also worth knowing that if you're in wormhole space, you'll only ever find full right gas. You won't find any of the others. So the ones that will cause you damage every now and then whilst you're harvesting, you won't find them in wormhole space. What you need to look out for is other players and the NPCs. Now, it is also possible that you'll warp into a gas site every now and then. There will be NPCs there, but that's not down to the site. That's down to the fact that you've been unlucky enough to warp in on one that someone else has opened up and left when the NPCs have came in. Doesn't happen very often because they have quite a small window before they close. Once you warp off and the NPCs are there, I think they only stay open for like a few minutes at the most. So it doesn't happen very often, but it is possible. So if you do lose your ship because you warped in and there's NPCs there, please don't shout at me. Like you've seen anyway, if you're fast enough getting out, then the ships can't really lock you anyway, so you should be safe. So that's pretty much all I've got to say on this. I mean, there's lots of uses for gas, which I'm not going to go into. I can sell it on the market now for 18,800. That's estimated. It's a little bit more, maybe a little bit less when I actually get to Vegeta with it. Yeah, I've not been doing gas cloud harvesting for long, so if this video's been a little bit up and down or a bit sporadic with what I've been saying, then please forgive me. It was just something I've recently started doing, and to be honest, I am loving it because that was, say, 40 minutes actually mining. I know there's a bit of time scanning and stuff, and I had to disappear halfway through. It didn't show you guys, I don't think, but yeah, I had to disappear for 10 minutes. But within 40 minutes of actual harvesting, mining away, I've managed to make, what, nearly 19 mil. Now, if I was to actually go and mine some ore, doesn't seem to matter which ore I mine, I can't make half that. And I know a lot of you guys now are going to be shouting in the comments saying, oh, I mine ore and I make billions and billions and billions. Well, that's nice for you. I just can't seem to do it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe you want to leave a comment down below and tell me, what your strategy is, what your tactic is, because, I mean, this character, she can fly orcas and all sorts, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem worth it for me to do mining. But I was going to leave it at that before I start a huge rant down in the comments below. So if you did like this video, then please hit the like button down below. If you haven't subscribed already, then hit the subscribe button. We've got the Billionaire series back. I'm going to start doing some more live streams as well as playing some other games. So if you want to be part of that, then hit the subscribe button. Don't know why I clicked then, but I did. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you right here very soon in another video. Bye bye. Mainly just to see how the pacifier handled, and to be honest, it felt really good. It was fast enough. I could micro warp around quick enough inside the sites. Warp speed was fairly decent at, what's my warp speed on this thing? See what it says now. 10. Ow, that's quite high, isn't it? 10.